mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life. We won't live in the past. We're making it alive.
It's time for another conversation. Welcome to Making It Last podcast, where it's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, but with other people. And I'm talking to Jessper Maquindang. Hope I got it right. Yeah, Maquindang. So he is a leadership speaker and he's a company culture consultant. Before we unpack our topic this time around, tell us what is a company culture consultant, because that is a new term for me. What do you do?
Absolutely.
What does that mean?
Noreen, good morning from Los Angeles. Very excited to join you today. So, for a company culture consultant, it is the process of figuring out how teams and leaders and managers can build a better work environment where every member can succeed and thrive and be at their best and live optimally in the workplace so they can put in their best work.
Okay. How did you get into that? Just curious.
So for me, just growing up in various leadership opportunities, I've seen the impact of helping other people reach their potential.
Okay.
And when you
Okay.
spread that around an organization, it really does make a positive difference. And it inspired me to really jump into the field because I've just seen the impact it can bring into a workplace.
Yeah, and especially since the workplace is where you spend a lot of time, the bulk of your time. So, and it does have implications for out of the workspace as well. So it's a nice segue then into what we're going to be talking about today, which is leadership lessons from overcoming obstacles. What are
Yes,
those lessons?
absolutely. So for me, I had grown up with some physical limitations. At a young age, I was diagnosed with asthma, and I just remember even family members were concerned about what I could do and could not do in life. And I remember being told I could not do a lot of things because when you have a physical limitation like asthma,
Mhm.
people lower their expectations of you. But I remember one day I was just inspired by major goals, and especially when it came to marathon runners. And one day I just told myself, despite growing with asthma, I'm going to run a marathon. I'm going to complete a marathon. I'm just going to put that in my bucket list. And over time, I started training. I put on my running shoes, put some miles in. Of course, there were challenges along the way. When you have asthma, it's not easy to put in some physical activities,
Mhm.
but I worked my way over time, took it gradually. I didn't do anything drastic or overwhelming.
Mhm.
I took
Mhm.
my time. And then when you build that habit and you really have that patience to put in the work each day, I just remember the excitement I felt when I finally crossed that finish line, that 26.2 miles, a long morning. And it was in San Diego. I just remember warm weather, nice, nice
Mhm.
day. And then when I finally crossed that finish line, I felt this great sense of joy. Growing up with these physical limitations and just proving to myself that anything is possible when
Yep.
you put in the work, stay consistent, and be patient. And that is the first thing I've learned from that process. And then over time, I realized other lessons. One, in overcoming obstacles,
Mhm.
it really does take the process of rolling up your sleeves, because to accomplish something significant, it's not like you can just sit back and just dream about it. You actually do have to step in and do the work. But when you really do the work and you can see the process just pushing through and
Mhm.
staying dedicated to it, that's when you realize you can see some significant results, positive results, when you really stay focused and determined to the goals that you have in mind for yourself.
It's something that that people hear a lot in different spaces, staying focused and all of that. What kept you focused?
So for me, it was my why. I knew I wanted
Okay.
to do something big. And for me, it was the ability to overcome the limitations that have held me back as a child. And that was a big why for me because I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it. I could achieve big things. I could make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And when I really did roll my sleeves up and put in the daily practices, and when I'm talking about daily practices, it is important to have some process or system in place to stay consistent. Because, for example, in the world of exercise, let's say
Mm-hmm.
someone wants to lose weight, but they're only going to the gym once a month. It's just not going to make much of an impact compared to someone who actually is going at least several times a week or
Mm-hmm.
maybe each day. It really doesn't make a difference when someone has a system in place to stay committed and consistent,
Yeah.
as it was in my case. I put in the work, put on my training
Mm-hmm.
shoes at
Mm-hmm.
least every other day, got some miles in, and over time, it was easy to take it gradually and step up each time. And then once I got to the full marathon mark, that's
Mm-hmm.
when I realized that work that you put in beforehand, the habits, the structure, the process, it
Mm-hmm.
really does help you to accomplish those significant goals.
You can't live your best life without a healthy immune system. Boost your immune system the delicious way with Zappy's organic juices and punches. Made from local produce with zero added sugar, our juices cleanse and revitalize your body as they boost your natural immunity. Try our delicious flavors: Beat It, Berry Bomb, Get Fresh, Ton Up, and Island Splash. Find us on Instagram at Zappy's Organics or call or send a WhatsApp message at 1-877-779-8910 to order today. That's 1-877-779-8910. Zappy's Organic Juices and Punches. Live your best life today.
Does your business lack branding? Having difficulty realizing your vision? Look no further. Splint Brand Design Consultancy specializes in developing personal and business brands. Services include strategic management, website creation, social media branding, and more. Visit them online at www.wearesplint.com. Splint, the brand you need to succeed.
I recently have been coached by the great Miss Noreen Daly. I own a video company. I'm also an online influencer. So I do a lot of speaking virtually and in person. She was able to point out some of my weaknesses that I didn't yet notice. And I 100% recommend Miss Noreen Daly as your coach.
Noreen Daly, redefining the way you communicate.
Would you say, though, even though this was as a result of what I just asked, would you say that one of your leadership lessons then is also knowing your why? Would you include that as
Absolutely.
one of them? And if
That
so,
purpose, that clarity.
why is that so important to everything else?
So when it comes to your why, it's that purpose, that direction, that North Star. When you have that clarity in mind and when you have that clarity in front of you, it makes it easier for you to make the right decisions day in and day out.
True, true, true. What other lessons?
So another lesson I've learned is really what impact it has on others. I remember in the early days I had in my training, of course, it made other people nervous, including my family, because here I am growing up with physical limitations at a young age, but suddenly I'm out on the trails.
Mm-hmm.
You have family members concerned. Okay, that's a little bit crazy. You're going out there and you might be doing something that you might not be supposed to do, but at the same time, they're wondering, what's going through your mind. But when you accomplish these major goals, I remember after completing my marathon, family members were really proud that
Mm-hmm.
it was possible, and it brought a sense of joy And it really instilled a sense of possibility to what they can see. And what all this is to say is that when you accomplish a significant goal, you remind others that major goals are possible for them too. So it's instilling that vision for other people when you accomplish something significant in your life.
I should have probably asked it at the beginning, but it just popped up in my mind, so I'm going to ask it now. Of all the things to decide that you're going to tackle, why a marathon?
So for me, I think one day I was just inspired by just a major goal because when you think about it, in a lot of people's bucket list, they want to do something that really has a is seen as a big impact. And running
Okay.
26.2 miles seems to have a big impact on a lot of people. And then I know it's on a lot of people's bucket list. And I saw that, and especially for someone like me who grew up with asthma, I realized it would be a very unique goal to strive for. And indeed, from the journey I went through, it was absolutely a unique goal that I had
Okay.
accomplished.
What was your time from the very first one to what it is now? Because I sense that you still, end up engaging in marathons over time. So what was your initial time? What's your time now?
Yes. So I'm still a runner. I'd say
Mhm.
in my early days, I could run a marathon in 4 hours.
Okay.
Uh, but as I got older, it's not the same. Got a little slower, but
Mm-hmm.
still motivated. I would say closer to the 5 hour mark, but that's not a bad thing. To me, just the idea of still
Mm-hmm.
being active
Mm-hmm.
and striving for the significant goal, it still motivates me to go out in the trails and get those miles in.
I don't know about a marathon. I do engage in physical activity, but I don't know about a marathon. All right. Any other lessons you want to share?
Yes, another lesson I want to
Mm-hmm.
share is really having that personal faith and that self belief. Because for someone who wants to strive for something significant in their life, it really takes that sense of confidence. Because if someone has a major goal and
Mm-hmm.
they don't believe in themselves, it's just going to make it much harder compared to if they do actually have faith that they can reach it. And again, it's about being consistent, committed, dedicated. And then when you put these values in, you can accomplish major things. I mean, let's look at the just the history of the world. So in
Mm-hmm.
American history, uh, President JFK, President Kennedy, he wanted to put a man on the moon in the 1960s.
Mm.
And at the time, that was absolutely wild. But he had faith in what the country can do. And over time, that did happen. We did put a man on the moon because it was that self belief and that faith in making those great things happen.
How easy is that though, just for somebody to acquire that self-belief if around them, you know, th- they hear otherwise, they see otherwise. How easy or how easy is it for somebody to actually acquire that self-belief?
Absolutely. So it can be challenging. So I would recommend two things. One, the people that you surround yourself with. If you're connected with people who are pessimistic, they see the negative side of things, of course, that can bring you down and that can drain you. I would recommend seeking out people who really lift you up and see the greatness in you. The second thing I would recommend is getting daily wins because when you're accomplishing milestones day by day, when you see those add up, those results,
Mm-hmm.
you'll see some positivity
True.
build along the way. And then you'll realize you can get stuff done. And when you do that over time, you'll just see more results. And so when you celebrate those wins, big or small, it'll remind you that you can do things. And when you have both these qualities with you, having positive people
Mm-hmm.
and getting results over time, you will be able to gain that belief and confidence that great things can happen.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that because I don't think people recognize that you will stay in the same space, same situation, if you don't find a way to change, who or what you surround yourself with. So that is really very important as you're on your journey to self-fulfillment. All right. Any other lessons you want to share?
Yes, I would say ultimately legacy, because when you reflect on your life, you do want to make a positive impact, not just for yourself, but for others. And I would recommend everyone to have a significant goal that they want to strive for, because when you work on these goals, positive things start to happen, positive results. When you strive for something big, it really draws a new type of energy within you, gives you a greater sense of purpose and a greater sense of mission and drive. And when you really stay focused on this, you'll develop some positive habits and structures and processes that'll build throughout your day. And when you stay consistent, you'll accomplish great things for yourself. And when you build on your legacy, you'll realize and look back and understand that you were really striving for something big.
Yeah.
And when you strive for something big, that really makes a difference in your life and the lives of others.
I think that's an excellent note to end on. Thank you so much for sharing, Jessper.
Absolutely. Thank you, Noreen.
This was Making It Last podcast, where it's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, with other people. I'm Noreen Daly. Until next time.
Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life. We won't live in the past. We're making it